Hi, I'm Ashley. Today I'm going to paint an Ireland street scene. It's a street called Parliament Street in Kilkenny, Ireland. So I took this photo while in Ireland and then painted it back here at home. So it's not technically urban sketching. I didn't paint it on location, but it's kind of in the same style with the line and wash, with the pretty detailed sketch in ink and then the watercolor washes on top. Enjoy. So I start off with these fine liners and just go in. I started with a very thin one and then decided it was too thin, so went to just one size up, I believe. And I had already done this pencil sketch. I did it probably over a series of a couple days at lunch at work, so it was pretty detailed. So doing the ink sketch was, I guess, relatively easy because I just had to follow those lines. And so I started with kind of the biggest shapes with the roof lines, getting in the perspective of the street. And then I go in and start adding in the details of the windows, the signs, light fixtures, those type of things. And I just added in a little bit of shading here and there with I trying my hand at some hatching techniques to get some shadows, especially in kind of the window frames and a little bit the door frames. I did it some places, not other places. I really didn't have a rhyme or reason to why I was doing it some places and not others, but that's what happened. So basically, I worked from left to right, sort of bouncing back and forth a little bit, but left to right. I did have my reference photo up, even though I had already drawn it, just to make sure that if there was any other little details that I wanted to add just straight with the ink, I could. And I just basically followed those lines. So this part of the sketch is sped up around 5 times, so it's about 500%. So I was a lot slower than this, I promise, but it would be really boring to watch 40 minutes of me basically tracing a sketch that I had already done. But you can get the idea of kind of how I did it with the ink. And then the painting part, some spots are real time, some are sped up to about 2.5 times, maybe 3 times. But for the most part, that isn't as sped up. So I think this drawing was really fun. It was time consuming just because there's a lot of lines, a lot of details. But it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it was going to be when I started. And the thing that kept it from being overwhelming was just starting with big shapes. And then after getting some big shapes in, making sure it was going to fit how I wanted it to on the page, I then added the details. And I just started one building at a time and just added in the details on one building, went to another. And it's not accurate to the sketch. I'm actually missing a building in there. Some of the buildings, I combined like 2 of them. The windows don't look exactly the same, not the same number of windows, but it doesn't matter. It gets the idea across. And the whole idea behind the sketch for me was I liked the perspective of it. I liked the colors, which we'll get into later with the painting. And then I liked how it showed just that kind of Ireland feel to it with these people. It's like a shop owner and this lady that's just walking her kid in a stroller, and they stop and chat outside the shop and have a little conversation. And it just kind of got the feel of just that friendly Irish hospitality for me. And that's kind of what I was going for with this sketch. And then the painting is just to add some interest to it, basically. So next we'll get into adding the color to this sketch. So first I just need to wake up all of my paints. I also need to refill my pans here at some point because I'm almost out of some of these in here. I've been traveling and haven't been where my paints are and just kind of keep forgetting when I do have an opportunity. All right, so get them all woken up. I'm going to wake up the wash too, because I'm probably going to use the white wash some. Okay, so now I'm just going to start mixing colors, and this does not have to be realistic in the sense of it has to be exactly like the colors in the picture or anything, but I do have the reference photo on my phone that I took while I was in Ireland, and I like some of these bright pops of color, so like the yellow here on the drapes or curtains or whatever, and then the blue, green, and the red. So I will get some of those colors in and just kind of feel out the rest. So, and I'm going to be kind of using this palette, mixing wells in my travel palette here. These ones, if I feel like it, I don't know, we'll just kind of mess around with it. So I'm just mixing a few colors of blue here to get started. And we're just going to go in. So kind of just do a wash over this area just to get some color in to start with. And I am not going to be real focused on getting inside the lines or anything here. Just kind of get some color in, drop in a little bit of more concentrated color here where the shadows would be. And this is a Moleskine sketchbook, Moleskine, however you want to pronounce it. I don't really know how it's pronounced, but it's not 100% cotton or anything, so some of the bleeds may not, and blends may not work quite as well as if it was 100% cotton paper, but that's okay. It's just a sketch. Okay, so we got some blue in there. Now let's mix up a little bit of a greeny blue color. I always joke that I have boy colors. I don't know the names of colors, so to me this is like a greenish blue. I don't know. Just mix it up and get it kind of thick. Tap off some of the extra. Whatever color it is, it's pretty. Maybe teal? Leave some space around the windows there, which I'll probably go in and fill in with my gray brush pens for kind of shading. Okay. And then mix up kind of a red color here, brownish red. So I don't actually have red in my palette. I probably should buy some. But I kind of mix this pink, I think it's permanent rose or something, with orange and browns and grays until I get the color that I like. It's almost like a, I don't know, it's a dark red. Sure. I already told you, I don't know colors. Okay. And then just kind of brush that in. Loosen up just a little bit. So on this, the line work that I already have done is really doing the job. And so the color is just to make certain parts pop and look visually interesting, but not really to do the work or, you know, tell a story of what it looks like, because that's already done with the line work. I have no rhyme or reason on the order that I'm painting this. I'm just kind of filling it. I don't know why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it, but that's okay. Okay, let's just add in a little bit of darker color here under that like eave on the end or on the top. And then drop in a little bit darker for a shadow here, and definitely back here where that door would be. I'll make that darker, make that darker. Put a little bit of a shadow here and here. Again, this just getting the variations in color, even though the color isn't telling the story, will help give it a little bit of dimension, make it not look as flat. I really like this color, so I think I'm just going to do the same color for this other red building here. And maybe I'll tone it down just a tad with some more gray, make it more of like a purpley, darker red. And we're just going to do the red accents on the top, around the windows. And then the bottom part is going to be red. I'm just going to lift up a bit of that color. And then I just kind of want it to, all of these maybe to bleed out a little bit into the street some. There we go. So maybe I'll just tap in a little bit more color here and then get a nice little color bleed. Again, kind of away from that area. And then same with some of this blue. Get a little bleed out from the blue. There we go. Okay. Go back in now that this is dry and do just a little bit, or dry-ish. It's not really dry, but a little bit of shadow on that. And then let's come in and just put kind of a light wash of gray on this front building, just to kind of give it some color, some texture here. Not a lot though. And behind the person, there'll be a little bit of a shadow. Kind of tap that in. And maybe the same over here, where our lady is. Now we'll put some yellow in on these checkered curtains. And then I'm just going to go straight in to this black and do the black ones, which we'll see how it goes. There's going to be a little bit of bleeding because it's still wet, but I'm okay with that. And they're not going to be filled in like perfectly either. They're just loosely filled in to get a sense that it's a checkered curtain lying in the window. Okay, so this sign is black, but it's shiny, so there's going to be a little bit of a kind of highlight on it. So let me paint it black, but then leave an area lighter where there would be a highlight. So I'm just going to dry off my brush and lift up some of this paint where there's a highlight, and then on the side also I want that part to look like a highlight. Okay, and then I'll go back in I guess, with probably white gouache later because I don't have a white gel pen. So it'd probably be easier to use a white gel pen and write on the sign. And then this sign is also a black Guinness sign, but that one's not as obvious. It's there in the background. Okay, so now I just have to decide kind of where else I want some color in this, and I'm thinking maybe some like pale yellow back here. Just use this spot, and I'm gonna make it more kind of pastel by adding white to it. And this is white watercolor. It's gonna make it more pastel. So I don't just want it to be lighter because then I could just add more water. I want it to be pastel. That makes sense. So adding the white does that. And then just gonna kind of wash that in this building back here. And yellow is a more opaque watercolor. So just trying to lift up a little bit to keep it transparent on areas where I may start a little bit overboard. So that's the nice part with watercolor is you can actually lift it up as you go. And, you know, if you ever put too much down, as long as it's still wet, you can just lift it up. And that works really well. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of the Payne's gray, which is like a bluish gray color. And again, just really water it down for the roof lines here. And then I'll come in and do something with these chimneys. I don't know what yet. And then again, just to kind of bleed it up a little bit, make it more interesting. Add just a little bit of water, let it bleed into the sky some. Let's just make the chimneys like a darker color, so just more concentrated Payne's gray. And then these are like petals, so gray works for that fine. I think on this building I want to make these side details something. What color should I make them? I kind of just want to do like a nice dark brown. So I'm going to mix my brown with a little bit of Payne's gray just to make it a darker and a little bit cooler brown, because again, that Payne's gray is a little bit of a bluish gray. And then I'm just going to tap that into these square details on the edge of this building, kind of like the one next to it. And let's go ahead and put that same color here, just to tie it together. We'll pretend that the window frames were this color too. Pretty sure they're black, but that's okay. Because it's my painting, so I can do whatever I want with it. Make this sign yellow, and then I'll do the lettering in black. Okay, so now we have a few people, and we're gonna make them dressed. So we'll put some kind of denim color down here for them. And that lady looks like she's kind of wearing leggings, so we'll put her in maybe some green leggings. Sure. Just kind of wash some color in there. Green leggings. Beautiful. And then she can wear a brown top with the green leggings. She was very earthy feeling today, I guess. Okay. And then the stroller can be gray. With some darker wheels. Tap in some color there. if you can hear my dog walking around, that's kind of fun. And then we are going to go with some kind of auburn hair here. Don't want to get too much, but this lady can have some nice auburn hair. Tap in just a little bit of brown to it. A little bit more of the reddish color. There we go. And her baby can have the same color of hair. Just barely see that baby peeking around the corner. And her purse is going to be a bright blue. Okay. Now this guy will have some brown hair, maybe a little bit darker. There we go. And I'll just dot a little bit of that same color on them. Can't really see them back there. He's got a nice coat on. Just tap some color in there without obscuring all of the details. Okay. And he's got black shoes on too. We'll say she does too. And maybe some khaki pants. This is not going to be khaki color, but close enough. Not too bad. And I kind of want to leave him in a white shirt. Okay, let's just make some very simple skin tone. It's probably a little too red, so let's add a tiny bit of green to it to tone down the red. Okay, good enough. Ah, too much water. Too much water. Whoopsie. Okay, try that again. So just a tiny tap into that skin tone and anywhere that their skin is showing. So hands, face, the little baby over here, you can kind of see its tiny little hand and face. Just so that they don't look, you know, the color of the paper, white. And these people need shirts on, and I kind of want to do like a bright pop of color here. So I'm going to do a bright pink shirt here. A nice blue shirt here. Okay, and again, I'll add in some more details with some my gray brush markers or brush pens for like darkening up the windows and stuff. I'm not going to do that with the paintbrush. So here I'm going to try to leave the shape of the horse unpainted to keep that horse white. And it's going to be a very impressionistic horse. It's not going to be a realistic horse, but it's white and I think it's going to kind of get the point across, even if it's not realistic at all. So just kind of tapping in now that darker gray color that I got that light wash in, and it'll kind of bleed in around wherever it was wet. Well, I don't know. Kind of looks like a camel, but that's okay. Whatever. It's a camel, not a horse, okay? It's fine. Kind of get some color here. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So I just need to kind of figure out something to put on here because that's like a sign, an advertisement sign. So let's just kind of drop in some color on there and show that they're advertising something. I don't know what. well, I guess my people should have shadows. So let's just kind of drag out some shadows from them. And these people too. They'll have little shadows coming out from them. Okay, big shadows. That's okay. And under the stroller should be shadowed also. Okay, now let's go ahead and paint in here. See, I said I was done, but then I decided that I wanted to add in that little like parking garage area to be painted. So let's just do that really quick. Tap in some black back here where it'd be really in the shadows. And then this side is black also. Now, just because it's fun, I'm going to do some splatters of gray. So I'm just going to kind of take that and tap my finger on it. And I did go ahead and wet this first so it should bleed out a little bit. And then I can kind of force it to bleed out a little bit more. And do it again. And let's go ahead and just drop in a tiny bit of some bluish color just to suggest that this is a sky up here. There we go. Good enough. Okay. Let's be done with the painting, part of it, and kind of let it dry and come back to add some shadows and to fill in the windows, which I think I can actually go ahead and start with. So any spot where it would kind of be darker on the windows, I'm going to go ahead and put in. And I'm not obviously trying to be perfect with these, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white spaces here and there just to suggest a highlight on some of these windows. And by going around those little kind of flags in that window, it makes them pop a little bit more. And then same with going around this lady, it's going to make her pop a bit more. And then I'm just going to add some shadows. That's not dark enough. Let's just stick with that same color for the shadows under the leaves here for each building. And underneath the signs and around the frames. I might go in and darken up the windows a little bit more. We'll see. Okay, now let's see what I can do with writing Guinness and whitewash. I feel like this might be a bit of a disaster, but we are going to try anyway. And there's kind of a curved line here, and a curved line here. Sure. And then we're just going to get that G in. U, I, N, and then it curves around, so you kind of stop being able to see it because it's curved around, right? Yeah, we're not gonna say I ran out of room. We just curved around so you can't see it. And this one actually is not again a sign, it's something else, but we'll just kind of add some marks. Pretend. Okay. And then here we have some sort of lettering, but we're just gonna kind of dot in some white to suggest that there's some letters there. And this one we'll dot in maybe a little bit of gray. And then we have this one. And this one. Okay. And this one. Now, is there anything else that I feel like I want to do here? Just make it look like the lights are on, I guess. A little bit, kind of yellow. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. All right, so here's the finished painting. I really liked this photograph. I liked the perspective of it. And then I really liked my line sketch that I did. It took a lot longer than it probably should have, but that's okay. It was fun and kind of relaxing, just following all of the angles and the lines. And the painting I'm pretty happy with. It's loose. It's definitely a less precise style than what I'm kind of used to doing and comfortable with, but it kind of challenged me to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I think that it still conveys a message of just the fun colors, the people that just kind of stopped to chat, as lots of places in Ireland that happened, just because they're very friendly. And I think it just kind of gets the idea. So I was happy with the results, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process. So if you like this video, check out some of my other videos. I have different kind of process videos. I wouldn't exactly call them tutorials, but I guess you could follow them like a tutorial. It's more just showing my progress with kind of this art journey with painting, sketching, that kind of thing. So if you are interested in watching my journey and hopefully joining me on that creative journey, please subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. And just, I'd love to hear from you about your journey. Thanks.